João Pedro is not a 9 that is going to score 20 goals each year. Otherwise, we liar.
Pedro playing it across the area. It's in. João Pedro, he scored.
Working nicely, João Pedro for 2, and he's done it. Within 5 minutes of the restart.
What a quality player, what a speed, what definition. He can definition with right, with left. He moves very good, he's fast, he's tall. So I think we have a very good player for the future for a very long time.
When João Pedro arrived, a lot of people were hopeful.
He is all or nothing, Joao. He's exceptional football player.
João Pedro is a great player,
but also a little nervous. For a long time, Chelsea fans felt like they were living under a striker's curse. They kept searching for that one guy who could truly lead the line. They spent big money on forwards, but none of them fully filled that role. But now watching João Pedro play under Rosenior, it honestly feels like that curse might be finally gone.
João Pedro is quite amazing right now. Every time he has a chance to score, he does.
His goal with the left foot is world class. The finish is magnificent. But actually, I'm really delighted with his 2 tap-ins that he got. He was in the right place at the right time. We worked hard with him on that.
When you score a hat-trick in the Premier League, it almost feels surreal for Chelsea fans. After years of struggling to find a reliable striker, seeing someone up front who can actually score consistently feels incredible. It's enough to make some fans emotional. I mean, these brothers were starving for a striker.
You could just see now that he's got the confidence and he knows that he is absolutely capable of producing and like contributing to output. It's like we're seeing a different João Pedro. It's like he's found his best version from the Club World Cup last year.
After all those years of waiting, Chelsea finally have their number 9 again.
Yeah, it's really exciting for us to have a player of his level performing at the level that he is at the moment.
When your striker can hold up the ball, make smart runs behind the defense, and actually finish his chances, it lifts everyone around him.
So just how good is he, João Pedro?
Scary.
Really?
Scary, but all of them, the age that they are, it's a joy to work with them every day. His mentality as well as a warrior. Joao, he's a fantastic footballer, but he's strong, he's physical.
You can see the confidence in the other players because they know there's someone up front who can just make things happen on his own. It was obvious from his first few games in a Chelsea shirt at the Club World Cup. The guy made his transfer fee back in like 2 games. João Pedro started the season on fire, but things slowed down in the middle of the campaign. Many people claimed he was a Club World Cup merchant, that his performances in that tournament was just a purple patch. People wondered why he wasn't scoring as much, and it was simple. The team was just not creating enough chances for him. For a while, he barely got the ball in dangerous areas. Under Maresca, Chelsea often looked very cautious. The team would recycle the ball across the back line over and over again instead of taking risks in the final third. Because of that, not just João Pedro, but many attacking players looked out of rhythm. It was a very slow, possession-heavy style where the team focused on controlling the pitch rather than attacking quickly. Instead of constantly running at defenders or playing forward early, Chelsea would circulate the ball and try to slowly move the opponent around. In that setup, João Pedro was often asked to drop deeper into midfield to help with the build-up. Instead of staying close to the goal where one striker normally does his damage, he was spending a lot of time in the middle third trying to link up play. From a tactical point of view, it helped Chelsea keep possession, but the issue was that now their striker was nowhere near the box to be able to score goals. Between September and early January, João Pedro went through an 18-game period where he scored only 4 Premier League goals. Maresca even defended the situation publicly. At one point, he suggested that João Pedro wasn't really the type of striker who could score 20 goals a season. He was rather a player whose job was to help the team balance the attack and connect the play. That explanation didn't really sit well with the fans. Chelsea had spent around £60 million on a striker, and supporters wanted to see him used as the main attacking threat, not just as someone who was drifting away from goal to help others. Like I said, the way Chelsea attacked under Maresca made things difficult. The team tried to suffocate the opponent by keeping the ball for long stretches, but the build-up was so slow. Defenders usually had plenty of time to get organized. By the time Chelsea reached the opposition penalty area, the team was already set up in a very haram low block. 10 guys behind the ball, plus the manager, plus the water boy. It made it impossible for a striker to be able to score goals. All of that created an awkward environment during the middle part of the season. The uncertainty around the manager, combined with a system that pulled João Pedro away from the areas where he's most dangerous, contributed to his dip in form. Instead of being the focal point of the attack, he he often looked isolated or too far away from goal to really influence matches the way a top striker should. But under Liam Rosenior, João Pedro has shown exactly why the club brought him in.
And his off-ball runs as well have transformed over the last couple of months. Coming short, this is the first one we're going to concentrate on. That is a player coming towards the ball, making themselves more available for a simple pass. And he's doing that less now under Rosenior, less coming short than he was under Maresca.
It shows how important the right manager can be. Rosenior understands how to use him like a striker, and that has made a huge difference.
But you've played everywhere, man, haven't you? I was looking at like some of your former games. You're playing in like midfield roles, defensive midfield roles.
Under Maresca, floating around in that 10 position, sometimes used as a striker, but essentially dropping deep and linking the play much more. What about under Rosenior then? You can see the difference. Playing as a number 9 involved much higher up the pitch, including much more activity in this area, the penalty box.
I mean, you had Maresca talking about Joao Pedro like this.
This kind of 9 that they score 20-25 goals each year, so Lewandowski, Mbappe or Alan, this kind is a different profile.
Meanwhile, you got Rosenior saying Joao Pedro is on the same level as Mbappe. Watching João Pedro, sometimes, and I stress sometimes, you see shades of Didier Drogba. He's strong under pressure, he can hold the ball up, link play with his teammates, and he loves to show up in the big moments.
Yeah, he's top player. I think he's growing in confidence. I think his hold-up play, the energy he puts into the team in terms of his press, his movement.
Chelsea have had plenty of strikers since Drogba left, but none of them really felt like they belonged to that same mold. Like Nicholas Jackson had a very similar story.
Already comparing you to the great Didier Drogba, how does it feel when you get compared to a club legend?
I hope so. I will be like him.
But even his profile was nothing like Didier. João Pedro is not identical to him by any means, but he's one of the closest things the club has had to that type of player in years. Physically, he's also a very interesting striker to watch. He's not small by any means, I think he's like 6'1", but he's not just a brute force striker either. He has this ability to adjust depending on the defender he's facing. Sometimes he uses strength to overpower defenders, other times he just relies on his skill and finesse and Brazilian samba. The way he moves on the pitch is so smooth that it actually hides how strong he is. But when you watch his hold-up play, it becomes very clear that he's incredibly strong and difficult to push off the ball. Maresca's approach focused heavily on controlling possession and recycling the ball safely. That meant fewer risks and fewer attacking opportunities. Rosenior's style feels much less restricted. Players are allowed to express themselves more. They attack with more confidence, and naturally that creates far more chances for the likes of João Pedro. The team now gets him the ball much closer to goal, and what do you know? The goals are flowing again.
Liam is more electric. He wants us to play with more intensity and compact. If you see my second goal was low, and then he wants us to come low, to be connected and create the space for us to run behind. So yeah.
Now don't get it twisted, there were moments under Maresca where João Pedro looked very good. At the Club World Cup in the beginning of the season, Maresca was there. Under Rosenior though, this is a different João Pedro.
At Chelsea now, you're going to see the real João Pedro. It's always been, I want to be the best, I want to play for my national team, I want to be the new R9.
This is also exactly the type of signings that Chelsea need to keep making. If the club wants to focus on younger players instead of older stars, then someone around their mid-20s is the perfect profile. Because João Pedro already had some experience in the Premier League, but he was still young enough where he's ready to explode into his prime year. And to be fair, this is one of those moves where the sporting directors deserve to get credit for. It's easy to criticize the club for some of the poor signings they have made in recent years, but this one so far has been excellent. If we're gonna call out the bad decisions, then we also have to praise the good ones when they happen. It becomes even more impressive when you look at some of the other big money strikers that were signed in the past few seasons. A lot of clubs spend huge money on forwards who simply didn't deliver. You look around, a lot of the big name strikers have not shown the same level of consistency that João Pedro has shown. João Pedro's hold-up play has become one of his standout qualities. It's honestly difficult to think of many strikers in the league who are better at it right now. He's strong enough to compete for long balls, but he also has that Brazilian technical skill. He can bring the ball down effortlessly, flick it around defenders, and sometimes even juggle it in tight spaces. Hopefully he juggles with my balls next.
Hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Some of the control he shows is honestly ridiculous. His finishing has also become extremely impressive. Some of the little dinks and chips he scores are elite. The only thing he needs to improve is consistency, because there have been moments where he misses chances he probably should have easily scored. That Tottenham game always comes to mind. But if he sharpens that part of his game, he can easily go up another level. Another thing that stands out is how smooth he looks on the ball. There are moments where you think he's lost possession or missed his chance to control it, yet he somehow always comes away with the ball anyways. I always have a ton of respect for players that have the ability to make difficult situations look effortless. Even some fans who were skeptical at the beginning are now admitting that they got it wrong. João Pedro is starting to look like a very special player. He has all the tools to become a world-class striker for both his club and country. In many ways, he's the perfect modern number 9. From the moment he appeared in the Club World Cup, some fans already felt like he was going to become the main man. Even when his form dipped slightly, it never really worried the people who believed in his ability, because great players don't lose their talent overnight, and João Pedro had clearly shown that he has that extra level. The comparisons between João Pedro and Nicholas Jackson, the striker before him, are obvious comparisons that Chelsea fans are now making. Jackson left for Bayern Munich on a high-value loan in the summer of 2025 after a very mixed spell at Stamford Bridge. There were things that people really liked about him. His work rate was crazy, and he was constantly running around the pitch trying to get involved. He also brought out the best in Cole Palmer. But his biggest criticism was always his finishing. Too often he would do the hard part by getting into good position, only to miss the chance at the end. When you look at the numbers, the difference between the two strikers becomes very clear. During the 2024-2025 Premier League season, Jackson scored 10 goals and added 5 assists in 30 appearances. Now on paper that doesn't look terrible, but the underlying data told a different story. His expected goals suggested that he could have scored a bit more, and I'm saying a bit more generously. He could have scored way more. Instead, he was missing a lot of clear chances. João Pedro has been very different in that regard. He looks far calmer in front of goal. With Jackson, you needed like 5 big chances just for him to score 1 maybe, while João Pedro can often take his first real opportunity and put it away.
Nicholas Jackson.
Their overall style of play is also very different. Jackson always wanted to be involved in everything, which meant that he would often drift out wide or drop deep into midfield. While the effort was always there, it sometimes left Chelsea without a proper number 9 in the box. João Pedro's movement though, especially under Liam Rosenior, feels much more focused. He still links up with the play when needed, but most of his movement now is designed to put him into dangerous scoring position, and because of that, he looks much more like a classic number 9 leading the line.
He's a player can play the role of number 9 or number 10. I think his best version is going to be having someone next to him. He has great technique, he knows how to finish, he's very good, so when they have someone who is there holding the ball, he can have a little bit more freedom.
And yeah, I think it's good for me because I prefer to play a 9, but sometimes if he needs, I can do as a 10 as well.
Another area where the difference shows up is in discipline and leadership. Jackson's time at Chelsea included several frustrating moments, whether it was getting booked for dissent, or getting a red card for a reckless challenge against Flamengo in the Club World Cup, or arguing with his teammates over a penalty. There were many instances where he looked immature. João Pedro, on the other hand, has quickly become an important voice in the dressing room. He's acting like a leader, especially for the younger players like Estevao and Andre Santos. It's another reason why many supporters feel like Chelsea didn't just sign a good striker, but a real focal point for the team going forward. Because you got a guy that can give you performances like what we saw against Aston Villa and Napoli, but he's also mentoring the youth. One of the most interesting things about João Pedro's development in the last few seasons has been how his shot profile has changed. When you look at the numbers The Athletic provided of him from the past 4 years, you can clearly see a striker who has become smarter about where he takes his chances. There were already hints of this back in the 2023-2024 season when he was playing for Brighton. At times, you could see that he had the potential to become a real presence inside the penalty box, but his finishing wasn't fully there yet. According to The Athletic, that season he converted only about 12% of his shots into goal, which, kind of like Jackson, meant he needed quite a few chances before finding the net. The following season showed a different kind of progress. According to The Athletic, his overall number of shots actually dropped, but his efficiency improved a lot. Instead of shooting from everywhere, he started being more selective with his chances. No more shooting, inshallah. His conversion rate jumped to around 21%, which is more around the kind of numbers you want to see from the clinical striker. This season, the trend has continued, and his improvements are even clearer. According to The Athletic, João Pedro is now taking a much higher percentage of his shots from dangerous areas close to goal. Only about 11% of his attempts came from outside the box, which is a big drop off compared to the 21% he took from distance during the 2024-2025 season. Another big change is how often he's scoring with his head. According to The Athletic, last season only about 13% of his attempts were headers, but that number has more than doubled this year to around 27%. That shows you that he's spending much more time attacking crosses and positioning himself in the box, which again is exactly what you want to see from your number 9.
And he's also making more cross option runs. Now, if you're not sure what cross option means, essentially when the ball is out wide, he's getting himself into the box, ready for that ball to be fired in.
All of this has made him incredibly efficient in front of goal. According to The Athletic, he's converting about 22% of his shots, which was the best scoring efficiency of any Premier League player with 10 or more goals this season when penalty kicks are removed. So to put it simply, he's not just scoring goals, he's scoring them at a rate that puts him among the most clinical finishers in the league.
He's an outstanding all-round player.
That change in João Pedro's shot profile isn't random. As you saw from the data and the article from The Athletic, it's happening because the way he moves off the ball has changed a lot. Earlier in his career, especially during his Brighton days, he would often drop deeper to help link up with the play or support the build-up. Those dropping runs meant that he was spending more time away from the box than in the box. Now that has clearly shifted. João Pedro is making far fewer of those support runs and instead focusing much more on movements that put him directly in scoring position. He's attacking crosses more often, timing runs into the box, and making more runs in behind the defense.
And he's also running in behind much more as well, under Liam Rosenior compared to Enzo Maresca, stretching that defense.
All of those movements are exactly what you expect from a traditional number 9. By staying higher up the pitch and focusing on getting into dangerous areas, he's naturally receiving the ball closer to goal. That's a big reason why his shot locations have improved and why his finishing numbers have become so efficient. A great example of this came in the goal against Leeds. The move actually started with something very simple. João Pedro made a casual diagonal jog that didn't even look dangerous at all, but that small movement was enough to make his defender relax and lose focus for a moment. Then just as the defender switched off, João Pedro made his real move. He curved a second run in behind the defense, perfectly timing it to meet a pass from Cole Palmer. When the ball arrived, he calmly lifted it over the keeper with a delicate dink. It was a classic piece of striker movement. You distract the defender, then you make the real run for yourself. It was executed perfectly. He actually pulled off something very similar at the Club World Cup. The movement was almost identical and showed just how intelligent his off-ball play has become. Now, one player who has been helping João Pedro a lot is Enzo Fernandez. To see how underappreciated the Argentine is, you have to watch this video right here.